Oh wow, we are. That's weird. You're live.
We are live. All right.
Howdy.
Hi, guys. This is our first ever YouTube live.
Ever.
We've never done a YouTube. I've never done a YouTube live. You've
I
never
definitely
done
have
a
YouTube live now.
So we're very excited to be here. We're gonna wait just a minute or so. I don't know who's gonna come on here, but of course this is gonna be recorded and shared to our YouTube channel as soon as it's done. I'm finding it so strange that we're
Inverted.
yeah, we're inverted. We're like a mirror image of ourselves.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
I'm you and you me. Freaky Friday.
Yeah, twin flame, Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
So today we are going to be, if you're joining, hi, let us know where you are from. We are here in beautiful, lovely South Africa, going from summer into winter now.
Yeah.
Definitely felt like a more of a winter day today.
Just slightly.
But yeah, so we're going to talk about the exciting world of twin flame past lives today. So this is super exciting. This is something I want to throw this out there right now. If you have a past life experience that you want to share, please put it in the chat with your twin flame. I'm going to put this out there right now. I am absolutely not an expert on past lives. I am not an expert on Starseed origins. I am not an expert on any of these things. I can only speak and we can only speak from our personal experiences, which I'm also actually really interested to hear what you have to say on this topic, because this is definitely more of a me topic, I
This
would
is
say.
way more of a you topic. This is a bit too far down the spiritual hatch for
This
me.
is down Alice's rabbit hole
yeah.
for you.
Where's the logical side, guys?
The funny part is like twin flames do, and like it's both, right? Because it's like that paradigm transcending duality. So it is both. It's logical, and at the
That's
end
why
of
we
the
work.
day, what's actually interesting, guys, is I have some visual aid for us that we might use later. But on this is actually a very logical explanation about past lives. So it's very funny because the first thing I have on here is literally, why does this matter? So why does it matter to figure out your past lives with your twin flame? There's a lot of actually different reasons why it would matter. And one is going to be, if you even believe in past lives, if you even think that past lives are like important to you at all, that's why you should dive into this. If you have absolutely no inclination towards past lives, remember one of the girls in our group was like, yeah, that's never really resonated with me. That's cool. Then past lives, it's not, the thing about past lives is you're only going to remember things from lives that are relevant to you in this time and space on your journey where you're at now.
So the experts say.
Or so the experts say. Thanks, my love.
Anytime.
But that's the point, right? Is like we're not going to be given information that's not useful to us now. So the reason why this matters, I have written down here, and this is quite interesting because someone actually recently commented and said like, oh, they had become aware of a past life with their twin where they were kind of in this crusading star seed thing, and they like the one twin flame was bad and the other twin flame was good. So if you're in this paradigm with your twin flame where you see really dark aspects of them next to really light aspects of them, which is something I always thought all twin flames experience, but a lot of this can be because of past life stuff. So what's really interesting is when we first came together, I had a past life vision of us where I was a mermaid and you were a sailor, which is interesting because I've had mermaid symbolism my entire life. I've had people tell me I had like lives as a mermaid. My name is Serena, which is like the siren, which can be related to mermaids. You are a sailor in this lifetime.
I am indeed.
So it's really funny because like I had this whole vision of a lifetime where we actually played that out, and it was also very dark. Like it was like I was captured from the sea by your crew. You were just one of the crew members, so it was like you were a part of the bad thing happening, but you weren't actually the one in enacting it, but I had so much coming up because of that. So it's really important if you're looking to dive into past lives that you look into, okay, if I'm seeing this really dark aspect of my twin, but I'm not actually seeing it on their surface, it can be those remnants from those past lives where past lives where you may not have ended up in union together, or past lives where you may have like traumatized or triggered the other person, all of that kind of stuff. So the reason why it's going to be important to learn that now is because as you're in separation, as you're trying to come together, you're going to be playing out that karma now.
Yeah.
So those essences, those remnants, those memories are still living in this lifetime because it's being played out as karma, right? So if something really bad happened between you and your twin flame, you might not have that same exact like massive repercussion, but what you'll probably have is a lot of weird fears around your twin flame, or a lot of things that they do that maybe turn you off that you can't even explain why. Like all of those unexplained or over exaggerated emotions that your twin flame brings up in you, a lot of that is past life related because we're so tied to them in essence that when these tragedies or these traumas happened in past lives, there's an echo of it in our lives now. Is there any like past lives that you remember of us?
Um, I've tried to give it a lot of thought, and nothing's ever really come to me. But I don't know if that is just because I'm not that I don't believe it, but maybe just not open to seeing it. Just because obviously I'm very fixated on now and what I'm doing and where I'm going and how things are moving for me, that I've never really tried to dive too deep into see if I felt like we had any past lives together. It's never really been at the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a very, I don't want to call it a concept because it's not really a concept, but it's a very intriguing concept, and it's something that I would like to learn more about as well, and maybe put a little bit more time and energy into thinking about it.
Yeah.
But as you know, in life, you got to prioritize things. And for me, obviously, my priorities have laid elsewhere as of recently. But yeah, I mean, I definitely don't deny it. I definitely think that there's a lot of truth to it, and I definitely think that there definitely has been past lives with us. Because as you're talking about, like sometimes when you see something people doing it, like you know, turns you off or makes you like not want to go towards a person or anything. We've definitely experienced with each other on multiple occasions. So it's interesting to see or to hear that that could also potentially lead to some sort of past life experience that we have had together or just in a past life.
Yeah.
So it's quite intriguing.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. We've got some stuff coming up here in the chat. Yeah, it's true. It's important to understand it can be very hard in one lifetime to keep going in a healthy relationship. That's super true. Imagine having many past lives together. Yes.
And remembering them.
Oh, my child. I've never heard of that. Very interesting. So one thing that's really interesting that I've drawn here on our little thingy-mabob. Yeah. Here we go.
Still here, I promise.
How did we get here? So this thing here, you guys. So this is the soul. I'm gonna stand up because I think it might be easier to see. Okay, so now it's just you, James.
Hey.
So this is the soul, right? And this is a very crude elemental drawing of something that's incredibly complex. But if you think about the soul, it can split before just this lifetime, right? So if you think about that, you have this soul, and it's essentially two people, one soul. And so you have this soul, and it may split, right? And it can split in so many different configurations. So you might have had lifetimes where Atlantis, Lemuria, more utopia kind of things, where you guys actually were together in union on a different kind of dimension, on a different I don't even know what you want to call that, a different plane, yeah. and you were actually together in union, there's possibility that you have those lifetimes with your twin where maybe you were ruling over some sort of kingdom, or maybe you were working together as prophets, or like doing some other type of spiritual work together in these utopian societies where it was important to have twin flames in leadership, right? And then maybe from there you also have a dynamic where they branch off and one twin incarnates and the other doesn't, right? And then you can have it the same way the other reverse. And then you can also have aspects where you both are incarnating, but you don't come into union in that lifetime. Maybe for whatever reason, the earth isn't ready for it, or your spiritual awakenings aren't ready for it. And then you have, maybe another lifetime where you do actually come into union. And for us, that's this lifetime. For us, that's this lifetime, but we still have all the emotions and all the record, right? Like the record lives within the subconscious mind, within the DNA, all the record of all those other lifetimes. So there's so much playing out at every given moment, that it's like it's an intense concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is a very intense concept.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. And so what's interesting is there's so many also different types of past lives you could have, right? You could have these Atlantis, Lemuria kind of utopia type situations. You can have your starseed origins, right? Like there's so many different things that could play out in different starseed incarnations and galaxies. And then you can have examples like us, where it was kind of more of like a mythical earth type situation, right? Like you were a sailor, so you were clearly human. I was a mermaid. I'm not going to say mermaids don't exist in this time-space reality, because I just don't know. But that feels very mythical, like I very much also identify with fairies and with fairy magic and things like that. And so you may have elements where you see your twin for the first time and you think of fairies, or you think of dragons, or you think of these like weird like mythical creatures. You might have spirit animals or spirit guides that are these kind of mythical creatures for your twin flame journey. And that's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that you identify with different mythical creatures. It's likely that you either were that mythical creature in one time, or that was the essence of your guys' twin flame dynamic in that lifetime, like us with the mermaid and the sailor situation. I'm sure there's more than just that, but I think that was the one we both needed in those moments to feel like, okay, this is actually something more than
we knew
what we can even possibly conceive of. So I would love to do some more digging on this. If you're watching this right now, let me know in the comments, have you done digging on your twin flame relationship and your past lives? I would love to know that. And what have you found? If you feel like sharing that, what have you found? And then, of course, you have multiple different. You've got Earth dimensions. You kind of incarnated in and out multiple different times on multiple different multiple different timelines on. I don't know what I was going for there.
Dimensions.
Multiple different like ways of doing that on Earth, right, where you may have come in. And I think for us, it's really about finding your truth and allowing that truth to guide you. Let me know if you're watching this right now. Can you hear us still? My internet, we're having a little bit of a windstorm going right now, so our internet is saying the connection is potentially unstable. So if you are there, let us know. But yeah, so we just wanted to come on and share a bit about past lives with you guys. Do you have anything else to say when it comes to past lives?
When I find out more, I'll let you know. As of right now, I haven't got anything that's springing to the front of my mind.
Okay. Is there any questions that we have? If you guys have any questions and you want to put it in the chat for anything related to your twin flame, past lives, like what's coming up for you in that space, we're happy to answer also any questions. But I definitely think it would be super cool. This is something we do dive into in Twin Flame Path to Awakening, where we actually do a past life regression session. And that past life regression session takes you into a past life or into past lives It's different for everybody, but it takes you into that element, into that space with your twin flame, to explore that and to help release any karma, any residual memories, anything that's no longer serving you, especially things that might be blocking you from reaching that point within yourself, not only with your twin flame, but just also within yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys are looking to join us in Twin Flame Path to Awakening, we are accepting applications. We're looking for an aligned group of twin flames who are ready to do the work together, to catalyze, heal their journeys, and just, use each other in the best way possible, to share, to grow,
to create a community as well.
Yeah, to create a beautiful, like a super safe community, like a super safe healing space. Because really, healing can only, like true healing, can only really take place in safety. Like you have to feel safe enough to be vulnerable, to share your healing. So that's really our aim in Twin Flame Path to Awakening. Okay, we've got a comment here. Within a couple of weeks of meeting my twin, I went into a trance, cried happily, and wrote a long email to her. In that, I wrote that I am a starseed of Mizar and she is Alcor. Did the same happen? That's very interesting. So I don't think you really identify specifically as being a starseed. I don't know if that's true or not.
I'm not sure if I would or wouldn't, to be honest. I
need to do some more digging on that.
Yeah, I probably need to do more digging. Obviously,
if it were interesting to you, that's the thing.
This is the thing. Is like, a lot of this, like this side of it is like, it's your almost, I don't want to say it's your bread and butter, but it's your bread and butter. Where for me, obviously, I'm a lot more on the logical side. So yeah, it's one of those things I definitely need to do more digging.
No, why do you keep? No. Why do you keep saying? Why do you keep saying that it's not logical?
Well, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like.
Are you saying aliens aren't real?
Aliens are definitely real.
Well, right, that's logical. That's just the logical way that the universe works. Just like being a starseed. Like starseeds are essentially aliens. They're light beings, right? So it is logical.
Yeah, I don't know if I personally would identify as one. And I don't.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't have enough research for myself to know that I could be like, yes, I am, or yes, I am not. That's where I'm coming from. I need to understand more about it and more about myself on a deeper level in order to.
Okay, so it's really not to do with the logic at all.
To me, it's logical.
So to answer that question, I feel like when it comes to your starseed origins, many people will have an emotional reaction to finding out that they are a starseed, because it's part of your soul's essence. It's part of the way that you are woven into this reality. Like if it's an interesting point for you to discover, that means there's something there for you. And so, yes, if you're having that kind of a reaction to finding out like, oh, this is where I'm from, this is where they're from, then 100%, yes, you should be exploring that and diving into that. And it's like you're coming home to yourself in a way, like, right, this beautiful part of the journey, especially during separation, is all about finding out what your true essence is in this world. And part of, for a lot of us, our starseed essences are what we're bringing. Those are the gifts that we're actually bringing from that lifetime as a starseed into this reality as twin flames. And so it's such a beautiful experience to be able to share with them, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. It doesn't really matter, because it's your journey. It's your journey at the end of the day. And I would say for myself personally, if you're asking, on a personal level, I identify a lot with the Pleiadian energies and also Arcturus energies. So those, like starseed wise, those are kind of ones where I feel like very attuned to those specific energies. But like I said at the beginning of this live, I have not dug into this to the depths that some of you guys, I am sure, have. So you guys could probably teach me a thing or two on starseed stuff.
Me too.
You could probably teach James 10 things on starseed stuff.
Very, very possible.
So yeah, I haven't dove into this an incredible amount. only for myself. Like, I would actually love to do more research and to ask you guys your experiences, because I think it's super valuable information, especially for people. It's hard information to find because we don't have any logical we don't have any logical what do you call it, evidence for it, so
Any
so
logic.
it's hard to find that stuff, because it's all going to be channeled material, and then you have to decide when you're reading or looking or viewing that channeled material if it resonates with you or not. And that's why we have emotional responses a lot, is because it's resonating with us.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of knowledge out there and a lot of things that have been written about it, but you need to go and dive into it and sort of feel what actually aligns with you. And that's what it comes down to. Is you actually have to feel it out as you're going through it.
It is a felt experience, 100%. I'm saying they're the same thing.
I know, I'm joking with you.
Are you guys understanding this little spat that we're having? So what I'm saying is the logic and the spirituality is the same thing. In my mind, they are not separate. It's not like logic and then spirituality. It's like, no, they're actually the same thing. So like whatever's spiritual is actually logical.
Yes, I know.
I know, you know.
I know.
Okay, let's go back here. Just looking through some of these comments here. Thank you guys for commenting. We're loving to hear from you and to chat with you. Let's see here. Advice on avoidant attachment twin. No contact, and her ego hates me to a point that she took me to the cops. Wow, that's pretty intense.
That sounds very intense.
I've spoken to a lot of twins where they have said that their twin either doesn't know they exist, like celebrity twin flame type stuff. Their twin flame has asked them not to contact them. Their twin flame has pretended like they don't know who they are, even after like having twin flame experiences together. The collective shadow with this is really, really huge. So my best advice for avoidant attachment is to literally allow them to play out the reality that they're playing out. Don't try and convince them that they're wrong, even if you know and you can feel all the beautiful twin flame things, beautiful and terrible twin flame things that are going on between you guys. Even if you're still getting the dreams, you're still getting the synchronicities, don't try and convince them that your reality is the true reality, because it's like that thing, like once you think somebody's crazy, everything they do just seems even more crazy. So you have to let them come to that awareness in their own space and their own time. Like, I know it's so painful, I know it's so hard, but also look at the areas of your life where you are not accepting yourself, if that makes sense. Again, the twin flame's always a mirror, right? So if they're not accepting you, they're saying you're harassing them, they're taking you to the cops. There's a reason for that, right? So, and part of the reason could be if you have subconscious beliefs that you are too much. If I believe that I'm too much, then somebody else is going to also perceive me as being too much, right? And they're going to say, hey, look, stop doing that. Stop sending me love. And this has actually been something that has played out in our dynamic on a less intense scale. But you also grew up love. People were, kind of repulsed by that.
My vibration was too high.
Yeah, you just gave too much, or you were too much, or you had too much energy. Your mom would always be like, go outside and run around the house. And so that being said, there has been times where I've also played into that, and I'm like, you're giving me too much, like stop giving me so much. And like, it is intense, right? And when you have so much love to give, it's hard to turn it off, and you have a lot of energy, it's hard to turn it off.
I mean, I can obviously speak from that side of it, and what it ultimately ends up doing is, like, obviously I'm trying to give to you, you say what I am doing is too much for you, which then makes me actually want to shut down even further and restrict. And the thing is, when it comes to that, there is no, like, I'm just going to pull back a little bit. It's like, it's all or nothing. So I try to give you what I feel is not a lot, but obviously it's my everything. And then when you say it's too much, that then makes me be like, okay, well, I don't know where the limit is. I'm going to put it all back until either you're ready for it, or I feel like I should try again, or whatever the circumstance might be. But there's kind of, I'm there, and then that happens, and my first reaction is pull back and be like, hang on a second, I need to readjust myself. So I pull completely back, which obviously
it's jarring.
It's jarring to you, because obviously it's one extreme to the next, which
Yeah.
for me, I don't see it that way, because that's obviously the way I work. but it's not. And the thing is, I know this, and it doesn't help because I know it and I still do it. It's not beneficial to either one of us when that happens.
Right.
Not at all.
Right. Well, also, I'm highly sensitive. So energetically, you guys, if you're coming in here now, just let us know where you're from in the comments. But energetically, you guys, I am very highly sensitive. So I can sense very quickly if he's coming in at 50%, to me, it feels like 110%, right? And if he's then pulling back at 0%, it feels like negative 50%. So I'm very sensitive. So I also, what's difficult is he doesn't maybe know where the line is, but I also need to account.
Too many lines.
Right. I need to account for the fact that I experience it more drastically than he does, where he's like, well, I was just coming in for a kiss. And I'm like, yeah, bro, but your energy was at like way too much. Right. And so for you, you're like, well, what the hell? I'm just coming in for a kiss. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? You're like putting your whole essence, your whole soul into it. And while that's not a bad thing at all, like this, it's not a bad thing to do that at all. And it's a beautiful thing to do. It just is one of those things where we sometimes miss each other and have miscommunication over that energetically, just because we don't always know exactly where the other person is.
Well, I think that also comes down to me. Obviously, I work not at home. So a lot of times as well, depending on how my day goes, I might have had a really great day, but then for you, you might have a really hard day, whether it be with work or with Claire or just in general, or, Tiny keeps peeing inside the house, whatever it might be. And that obviously puts us on two very different wavelengths. And when we first come into contact with each other, sometimes they're so drastic that it is a huge shift, especially for you more so than for me. I can kind of, if I can see you down, I'm like, are you okay? Make sure you're fine. I can just carry on as if nothing ever happened. But for you, you can't do that same thing. So it's just about moving through it. I mean, we did really well in our first flat we lived in together, where when I came home the first half an hour, I got to hello to you and then I'd leave you there.
Yeah.
Because
and
it
then I
allowed
could
us
slowly come back to
because
you.
you could go into your little office room, whatever you're doing, and get yourself there, and you could feel me through the walls
being
and be
in the
able to,
house.
and then you'd be able to like get yourself to a state where
Yeah.
you felt ready. And obviously, sometimes my day would have calmed off by then, or
And you guys, this
whatever it might
also,
be.
I hear you and I agree with you. And
Thank
this
you.
also has to do with my childhood, as like the first thing my parents would do when they came in the house was like yell about something that we didn't do during the day. Like, so it was always like we were never greeted like, hey, how was your day? Like, love you. It was always like, why I'm so angry that you didn't do this and why didn't you do that? So I was always like, every time, like I remember like being traumatized by the sound of my dad's car wheels on the gravel, because I knew like, okay, brace yourself, right? So every time I hear James like on the gravel out here, like approaching the door, I'm like, okay, brace yourself. And it's a continual trigger that I'm still working through. But I don't want to talk anymore about this. Thank you for the avoidant attachment question. I hope this helped. Okay. Yeah, we have some more questions. So we'll answer a few more questions and then we're gonna pop off. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Do you believe that love essence or soul recognition, some called twin flame, can be found in someone else who isn't the person you perceive as a twin flame? I do believe you can have soul recognition with other people. I had a soul recognition with my karmic partner. So we have different soul contracts, when we come into these incarnations saying, okay, I'm going to play this out with you. I'm going to play this out with you. And if you are somebody who is sensitive or is highly aware, you likely are going to contract to have amnesia around them, right? You might have a soul contract to say like, I will never recognize you, right? Like, I think I kind of had that with my family a little bit, because I felt very misperceived by my family and I felt very misunderstood by my family. And I am certain, because I've seen past lives with my family, that I've been in many lives with them before. But in this lifetime, I feel like I didn't know them from Adam. I feel like the stork dropped me off at the wrong house. This is also a starseed symptom. So if you guys feel the same way, it could be a starseed thing as well. But that being said, I have had different soul recognitions, and many people recount that also as a false twin flame, right? You might have a catalyst or like a false twin flame that's coming in to check, okay, are they ready to begin the twin flame journey yet or not? And then they have this beautiful soul recognition. They believe this person might be their twin flame or might be something really special to them, and they are, just not what you think it might be, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps.
My guru.
Wow, spot on. She is a celebrity. Love that. Thank you. I love that. Is that what you were confirming?
Yeah.
I didn't even understand what you were saying.
I know, I know. I felt it.
It's like, oh yeah, okay.
About 3 questions ahead at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you read that all from back there?
I have good eyesight.
Wow.
Thank you for your answer. Very interesting.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. How can someone communicate with their twin flame through dreams while never met in person? Also love your videos. They really make you do feel like you're not alone. Ah, thank you.
Thank
That
you.
is literally what we strive to do. We want to have our big twin flame family here, and be working through things together. But so I think personally, for me, the best way I've come to find to communicate with your twin flame via dreams is to set the intention right before you go to bed. You can do a lot of different things. I find for myself, writing my intention down in a journal helps me cement it for whatever reason. But before you go into sleep, your brain enters a few different brain waves, right? So there's a few different brain waves your brain will hit before it hits that deep sleep state. And so this is actually the best time to program your mind. The other thing you can do now, vet your people that you choose for this, but you can look up on YouTube different twin flame, what would you call this, twin flame, like astral dream meditations. And you can listen to those going into sleep, and that might help take you there if you're someone that's not used to accessing these states. If you're not used to accessing these states, trying first to access it like in the waking state might actually help you.
Yeah.
Because you can then consciously realize how your astral body, your astral lay of the land kind of works, if that makes sense. Whereas in the dream state, it's not as easy to do that unless you already know how to lucid dream. Then you're light years ahead of me. So yeah, that's the best thing I could say through dreams. Do you have any insights on dreams?
I don't know. For me, a lot of times, I always kind of felt that if I tried to obviously use an intention, but then sometimes as well, you can almost be forceful towards it.
Yeah.
Where if you're trying so hard to get something that sometimes you almost lose yourself from it. So I know from my personal experience, obviously you like to journal it down to set your intention, then go into it. For me, it's more just about my, sounds really bad, but my brain kind of goes blank and I kind of block everything out and I just allow myself to be and allow things just to come to me as they're meant to. So not actually really not forcing, not setting the intention, just literally allowing what's meant to come to me in those moments to actually come through to me, and just, not being happy or sad or whatever the outcome might be, just actually being a part of it and just actually allowing it to just flow through me and bring to me what I actually need in that moment, and then allowing it to come to me. Yeah. Go. What? Yes.
I think that's a really important point.
Thank you.
I think it's really important if you especially have a receiving wound. If you have a receiving wound, right? So here's the thing about the twin flame journey. We all want 100% agency or control over our journey, right? So if you, and I love the way that you said force, if you are forcing yourself astrally to try and connect with your twin flame and they don't want to connect with you astrally, the best thing you can do is, like James says, is be more open to receiving them rather than pushing the connection. It's a very subtle energetic difference, right? Because you can still set the intention, but you can set the intention to receive communication from them rather than to reach out for communication from them, right? Because that's like a very grabby energy. Whereas like what you're saying is a very receptive energy. You're allowing them to come to you astrally or in the dream state. So I think energetically, you're right. That makes a huge difference whether you're being forceful or not. And if you have a receiving wound, you're not somebody who's used to being in the feminine and receiving, that can be a really big area of growth as well. So thank you for that question and that comment. Okay. Thank you.
I'll be back momentarily.
James is gonna grab my charger for me. Um. Ooh, interesting. Very interesting things here. Wow. Very interesting. Yeah, I like that. Not to forget that there's a high astral level, that there's energy of actual religion, sex, monastic, like Catholic or Buddhist monk, antique religions, ancient Greeks, Romans. True, 100% true. There's so much at play for each individual. That's why we always like to account for the fact that, like the twin flame journey, even though it is this beautiful universal thing, it also is incredibly individual. It's incredibly individual. And that's something we thanks. That's something we account for on Twin Flame Path to Awakening. Is when we work in our group, we have these beautiful group intentions, group sessions, meditation ceremonies, but we also literally take 3 one-on-one sessions throughout the course, plus Q&A sessions like this, where you can literally ask your specific question, and we can even dive deeper because of the fact that we're literally face to face talking, like, okay, this is what I'm going through. Okay, what's your intention behind that? What's your limiting belief? What's your program? And we literally dive so deep into it. Like, that is where the big change happens, is because we're actually able to personalize it based on the information that we are gathering in the group. So that's what makes it really absolutely incredible. Yeah. So if you are interested in signing up for Twin Flame Path to Awakening, you can find that literally in any one of our most recent videos. But yeah, we have a cool iteration of this coming together for this group. So I'm really, really excited to see what's gonna come out of this group, especially coming straight out of eclipse season. How's eclipse season been for you guys? I hope it's been okay. But yeah. Okay, we're gonna take this last question, this last beautiful question, and then we're gonna pop off. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I can't believe it's been 40 minutes already. We're like, oh, we'll come on for like 25, 30 minutes. Here, there we are.
Thanks,
40,
guys.
40 minutes. But thank you guys so much. First time I looked into her eyes, I was falling in place, and within the next hour, I had my heart chakra opened, which I mistook for a panic attack. Does this happen often when you are with yours? Heart activation, yes, definitely. Major heart activations for sure. Even throughout like the beginning. Do you remember when we first came back into union and I had to ask you to sit on the other side of the room from me because it was too intense for me?
Yeah. Yeah. I was waiting for like 4 months to be able to touch you, and you're like, please sit on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the energy is definitely, it's super intense. Do you remember having physical symptoms like heart activation type stuff?
I remember having almost like a flutter of emotions come over me every now and again when either looking at you or when you'd smile or certain interactions, and there'd be like a overwhelming sensation that would come through me that I didn't quite know what to do or what not to do with it.
So it's kind of like a whole body sensation.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it obviously came from the heart.
Okay.
That's definitely one of the core places. I mean, the heart's the love. But yeah, a lot of it was full body, but very always strongly here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, yeah, I think I've also had major heart activations after meeting you. I had like a major aha moment after meeting you. And
he's the right one.
and it literally was, I want to just be like in this
in the block of
here.
light.
And it literally was just like it was so simple at the end of the day, but it was a heart awakening. And it was just this heart awakening that I could be loved for exactly who I am. I don't have to change myself. And for me at that point was massive. It was absolutely huge. So yeah, it was one of those things. It's, it's simple. It's like a light flickers in your brain, and then it's like, oomph, and you feel that vortex open up where originally maybe there was a block there or a wall there or something there. In any one of your chakras, this can be. But for me, yeah, that was definitely a hard activation for sure. I had many other activations also, but you know, that's a story for another day.
Those continue to come up continuously.
Wow. Beautiful shares. I really appreciate this, you guys. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here today. Yeah, if you have any other questions, you can always we have our Ask Me Anything form, which is also on all of our videos. So if you have any additional questions that you want to share that we can put out for the rest of the community, we can answer the question via YouTube. We're happy to do that. So if you're looking for, you know, more insights or information on any of your questions, please
ask us anything.
Please ask us anything. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here today. We are going to end this stream here, wishing you lots of love on your twin flame journey, and hopefully we will see you soon.
Oh yeah, hopefully on the course.
Yes. Bye.
Bye guys.